So as far as supply and demand of properties, okay, we have very limited supply of property, and the reasons is the availability of land, all the restrictions in the laws, and the bureaucratic barriers for new construction. In addition to that, we have a limited supply, we have a high demand. Okay, people want to live close to where the opportunities, employment opportunities are, and all the cultural activities. In addition to the growth of the population, the immigration, and as Jews, we like that we have our own house. So all those make a pressure over the prices to make it increasingly unaffordable. Okay, but in the other hand, we have the government that does an intervention, and they give subsidies for the first-time home buyers. It also gives incentives to developers to make an affordable housing, and continuously is being done efforts to reduce bureaucratics. So all these challenges that we are seeing here requires an effort from the government, developers, and the civil society in order to receive a more balanced market. What kind of properties we have in Israel? On the right side here, you have in Hebrew, so you can start practicing your Hebrew. Okay, but meanwhile, I choose some of them and I translate it for you. So we have the apartments where we have to define 2 rooms, 3 rooms, 4 rooms. In Israel, by the way, when you say 3 rooms, you mean 3 bedrooms plus the living room. Okay, so you have to make sure you use the right terms. And you have an apartment with the garden, which is the apartment on the base, which has access to some green area. You have villages or houses, which are standalone properties. You have duplex, which are 2 floors, but penthouse is the last floor on the building. Usually is only 1 flat floor. You have the cottages, and in Israel, there is this case, which is a unit, in Hebrew, Yehida Nifredet, which is usually in an apartment or in a house. They have an additional apartment or area which goes to rent. It's independent from the house or the apartment, so that one is also an opportunity to rent. So what we have here, obviously all these kind of properties, okay, vary in size, location, price, and depending on the city. What are the options for us as new immigrants? So one option is you can rent, okay, you can purchase a property. You can be for a few months in an absorption center, which they are in different cities, and you can stay there. You have to arrange it with the right institution, the Aliyah agency, for a few months. You can live in a community which has a focus in religion, social justice, or sustainability, or in a homestay where you stay, you are being hosted by a family, and that will be an opportunity to live with Israeli and learn about our culture and custom. Our suggestion always will be to research and explore the various options before you decide which way you want to go. Choosing a city, that's another issue, where to live. We have here a map of Israel and the different cities where you can choose. What we suggest is first try to be close to family and friends. It's very, very useful. In my case, that's what I did. I arrived to the city where I live because there were family here of my wife. The education is important, so you can check the ranking of the schools in the area you're looking for. Transportation, look at the quality of the transportation, especially if you're not going to have a car in Israel. Job opportunities, look in the areas you want to live, how are the jobs, what's the average salary in those areas, and the economic climate. Cost of living. Each city that has a cost about housing, transportation, goods, and services. So that will be important for your budget. And lifestyle preferences. Okay, what kind of weather you want? A lot has one weather. Jerusalem has a different kind of weather. Haifa, they're all different, and here in the north is higher and colder. So that's important to take in consideration. And if you like outdoor activities, cultural events, and your kind of nightlife. And if you have a religious preference, so you have many cities, many areas that can be more relevant for you. And also the housing in those areas can accommodate your practice. For example, in religious areas, the balcony is called in Hebrew mirpeset sukkah, which is usually to have the sukkah in those places. It's a balcony open to the sky. So do your research, visit different cities, talk to local people to understand and get to know more each city. About the demographics in Israel, okay? The Israeli population is relatively young, about 30 years, so we have a large demand for housing from young adults that they are starting their new families, so they will the demand for the properties. Most of the population lives in urban areas, the big cities. The incomes, many families struggle because of the high cost of housing in Israel, and the family size. In Israel, the families are relatively big. Three start in more than three, so there is a need for larger apartments. The religions, so you have different religious groups, so you have to go also where is the right place for your living arrangements. And as immigrations, make sure when you look for a place that is next to the community you are looking for, you need, and the cultural institutions or communities. So the point here is very important to understand the demographics of Israel, okay? Again, do your research more specific so you can know what type of housing you are seeking. As far as the Israeli, here we can see in this photo a mosaic. The different Israelis are from different places. The diversity is very, very wide. So that's who we are. In Israel, we like to negotiate, and usually it's a heated process. Okay, the contracts, obviously the rental contracts are always written, but it's very common to find that which are not written. We recommend that you use a lawyer to help you to have a formal agreement. Also, as we talked a few seconds ago, the society is multicultural from different backgrounds and religions. So you have to consider these differences when you choose a neighborhood. And as we know, Israelis are very direct and outspoken. So when you're going to purchase or rent a property, we have many suggestions. One of them, make sure you are next to a lawyer which is specialized in real estate. There are many issues in the real estate rental and purchase. It's very important you don't get into trouble. Also, use the right real estate agent. He has experience and he knows the area you're interested in. When you're going to purchase or rent, be prepared to negotiate, okay? We are in the Middle East and people here like to negotiate and always make an offer below the asking price, okay? If you're going to buy, make whatever you have to do, write to the right people in order to obtain a pre-approved mortgage, okay? And consider research with lower housing prices like Beersheba, Ashdod, and Harish, which lately is a city which is growing very rapidly, and many people are looking for that place to live. When you want to rent a property in Israel, you have all these requirements. You need a passport or Israeli ID card. You have to take in consideration that you will be requested for a deposit. Also, a guarantor that in case you don't pay the rent, he will take care of that. You will have to need the application. It's not always, but sometimes you will be requested an application where you have to give some employment history, or your personal references, okay? That can be a recommendation from previous landlords or employees. Obviously, as a newcomer to Israel, those things may be difficult to find, but you can use family, and once again, use the help of the real estate agent to help you to overcome all these requirements. You may need to pay rent in advance, which means the first and the last month, plus the security deposit. And some landlords will like to see your incomes, your bank statements, or your employment contract. So renting, from all the options, renting is a very common and relevant option, okay? Taking consideration that the prices varies depending on the location and the size, okay? Do, once again, your research and compare prices before you decide. When you receive the contract, the renting contract, make sure you understand the price, the time of the contract, the conditions and restrictions, okay? Don't be afraid to negotiate. Once again, we are here in the Middle East, and try to obtain the lower rental price and favorable terms. The other issue when you rent is furnished or not furnished, okay? If you are coming, most probably you don't have the right furnished, so it might be relevant to look for this kind of property, but obviously it will be more expensive. As far as location, take in consideration where you're going to work, school, the public transportation, the mall in the area, and restaurants. Look at all those so you are in the right place for you. And finally, once again, look for the right real estate agent that can help you with this, okay? And definitely, in the first stage that you are in Israel, renting gives you more flexibility when you compare to purchasing, because you can explore different areas before making a long-term commitment. In my case, when I did Aliyah, I used the Airbnb because, as you saw in the previous information I gave you, you need all kind of requirements that maybe you don't have it. So an option could be for the first weeks in Israel, to go to Airbnb, which is also in English, and you can rent an apartment for a few weeks until you get organized, and there is no prerequisites besides the payment. So this could be, that's what I did. I did for 3 weeks until I got all my banks, all my things organized, and then found a rental apartment. About expenses, okay, you should consider you have, for your budget, you have the Arnona, which is the municipal tax, which is paid every 2 months, and the tax rate varies, okay? You also have water, electricity, and gas, which is based on what amount you consume, and it's paid monthly. Additionally, you have to pay these municipal services includes for the trash, street cleaning, and other services. And you have also a payment for the property itself, okay, which is for the repairs, elevator, landscaping, and other services. We suggest that when you move to the new place, okay, take a picture of all the meters, the water meter, the electricity, and the gas, to make sure you're not paying someone else's, you're not paying the previous resident, okay? And transfer all the contracts to your name. For the Arnona, which I explained previously, is the payment, the municipality payment. This is a document as an example, okay? There are some discounts, and it varies for each city, okay? Some of them are for 3 years. New immigrants have an important discount for the first year, and individuals with disabilities also have discounts. Obviously, you have to check with the real estate or the lawyer or a family, someone that knows if you are eligible for those discounts. As far as financial assistance, there is the state of Israel helps to elderly individuals, to families and individuals who have low income. Also, the government offers rental units below market, but you have to be eligible for that. And also there are grants in certain areas to help renovate and repair their houses, and also grants to renovate deteriorated buildings. Okay, please, for this issue of financial assistance, contact the relevant government agency in order to evaluate your case and what needs to be done. As far as prices, I prepared a table for the average prices of rent and property and to buy a property, but the price range varies a lot, and also the market is changing too much lately. So what I decided, instead of giving you a material and information that may not be precise to the time you decide to make Aliyah, I would like to suggest Judge Time, okay, which is a website very used. It's okay, the sound? Very used website. About over 90% of the market uses Judge Time, which means used products. And here, even though they say it's in English, I didn't find it. It's in Hebrew, so you might need some help. But once you practice a little bit, it's very, very friendly. So here you can see the prices of rent or purchase of a property. I think this will be here. You would choose which city you are looking for. Okay, what kind of property you're looking, how many rooms. Okay, approximately the size you're looking, and so you put this information, and he will answer you the approximate price for that. Once you get the price, about it, that could be, I think, a good reference. There are more tools to do valuation, but they are more complicated. I think this one will resolve your needs for valuation. Where can you search properties? Okay, so we have these four as an example: Judge Time, Madlan, Win-Win, and Homeless. Even though Judge Time is the biggest one, but you have other options that you can check. They say they're in English, but I didn't find them in English. They are all in Hebrew, so you will need help. But once you understand the basic logic, you can solve it. In addition, Facebook for real estate in Israel is very, very strong. There are many groups dedicated to housings that you can find their information relevant. And in addition, another source can be the real estate agents. Okay, there are many agencies that look for the agency or for the agent that is specialized in the look, in the place you are looking for. And obviously, to find the right property, you can use a combination of all these tools. So one of the things I would like to show you is about this kind of urban renewal plan, okay? Because the reason we explain this, because you might find a price which is really, really cheap. Maybe you are in a building that is about to go TAMA or is in the process of a TAMA 38, and that's why maybe you'll find that the rent is very, very low. So this is, we want to explain you what we are talking about, so you know what you're getting involved. Basically, a TAMA 38 is as I say, is a urban plan which improves the safety of the older building. Here you can see an old building. Okay, the structure stays, and now there will be, you see that the first three floors will stay, and they will add a fourth, fifth, and even sometimes sixth floor. They will add a balcony. They will add an elevator, also a mamad, which is a security room. So here's before and after, an old building, now a new building. Okay. Here you have another example, this an old building and how it looks after. You can see here how they have the balcony, they have elevators, the security room. And here you have another example. This is in the back, an old building. And this is the sign, what is saying that shortly this building is going to a TAMA 38. And if you want to buy an apartment there, so what happens is usually in some cases, all the residents move out. In some cases, residents stay there. So the rent goes down because you are inside a construction site. It's very difficult, but you do some saving. For some specific people, it might be an option. So that's why we wanted to share with you. So you know you have this option. But make sure that you are in a construction site. Will be very, very noisy. The other project, the other program in real estate that goes in Israel is Pinui and Binui in Hebrew, which means evacuate and rebuild. So in that case, you can see here an old building. The entire building will go down. I will construct a new building, as you can see here. Also, you have a case here, an old building, okay, and next to it, new buildings, okay? So sometimes you can find, you know, a good rent until all this process of Binoi. Obviously, once they decide to destroy, everyone has to leave. The idea of this program is to, as you can see here, give modern buildings to older neighborhoods, okay? And by the way, the owners of the apartment are offered incentives so they can leave their existing home. Once the new building is constructed, they return and they have a new apartment, okay? As I told you many times, we suggest you use a lawyer which is specialized in real estate. He has local knowledge. He will let you, in case of a purchase, do a diligence to check that everything you're buying is relevant. In case of dispute, he will help to resolve, obviously, the legal expertise and to review the contract. This way, wherever you do, you are protected. Also, as far as real estate companies, you have many international companies here that you can choose the one you feel which is more relevant to your needs, okay? But look for one which is locally, so you will get a specific information. Also, if you decide to use a real estate agent, he has access to properties. Some of them are not available to the public. He has the negotiation skills so he can get you the best prices and terms, can save money because he will do all the research on property, also the professional advice on finance, legal, and property management, and the local knowledge. Okay, a good agent definitely will guide you through this process of making Aliyah. And this is my information. If you need one, I will be glad to help you. So this is my presentation about housing in Israel for new immigrants. It's a lot of information. Obviously, this presentation is available. You can write me to my email or contact me, and I will send you the presentation.